how you doing? Actually, I think I will tweet this out while I'm at it. One moment, please. And there is the share, Twitter. So I'm back. How you doing? I'm live, and what I'm trying to do now is get rid of this menu that's under here. It's weird. It's kind of, I guess yeah, that's right. Sometimes you have to. It's gotta be. Hold on a second. I don't mean to be that way. I just want to be normal. Now I'm normal. Okay, normal, right? How do I see if I key that right? Then okay, it's normal. Raiders. Wow, what a win, folks. 24-21. It was so cool as the Raiders were down as much as 17-0. I mean, I thought the game was, because we didn't get the game here, all right? And it should be a nationally televised game. There ought to be a rule that every game overseas, I don't care if it's London, Paris, Beirut, Baccarat, out of Mongolia, Cucamonga, I don't care where the NFL plays a game. It should always be nationwide. It shouldn't be, well, oh, you live in Oakland or you live in Chicago, so you'll see it. Everybody should see the game, right? Because that's one of those comebacks that everyone should see. It's like, otherwise it becomes lore, right? Well, actually, that's not true. Because now we live in the era of NFL Game Pass, which I have, and I hope you have, and you can review in excruciating detail, if you choose, how the Raiders came back. But I can save you the trouble if you didn't see the game and tell you that Josh Jacobs keyed the win. 26 carries, 123 yards, 140 total yards from scrimmage. Nice. And is he the first running back this year to do that well? I have to check the stats. But he did. Josh Jacobs is what I predicted he would be, because I predicted that the Raiders were going to draft him. Now, if you have doubts, all you have to do, you're on Zenny62 right now on YouTube. All you got to do is do the search. Type Josh Jacobs Zenny62. You will see a interview I did with Jacobs, where I told him, I said, hey, look, the Raiders are going to draft you. You're the best running back in the draft. The Raiders need a replacement for Marshawn Lynch. They're going to draft you, man. So I asked him how he would feel being the heir apparent to Marshawn Lynch. As John Q just said, Jacobs is what we wanted. Jalen Richard and D. Richard. Yeah. D. Washington, excuse me. Absolutely. And I apologize for not reading your comment in its entirety, because it only comes up in small little bits, and unfortunately you have to put in like a couple of bucks in order to, it's not my doing, it's the YouTube thing, okay? But in order for me to see your comment and read it, more when it's on this. So if it's on a computer, right, I can read it regardless. Anyway, I agree with you. You're absolutely right. And it's the way to win. The formula is, hey, look, you can either, I prefer the old Bill Walsh method, which is you use the pass to set up the run, and you use the short passing game to pile up a lead in the first half, and then you coast your way to victory. It looks like arguably the Chicago Bears are trying to do that, but somewhere along the way, they forgot about the second half. So it was kind of one of those weird even games, right? In other words, the first half could be called the Khalil Mack game, right? That was for Khalil. And it's like the Raiders said, okay, you've had your fun. Now we're going to whip out this. Here's this can. No, I'm just kidding. But, the Bears blew a 17-point lead. The Raiders, think about it. The Raiders spotted the Chicago Bears 17 points, and the Raiders won. That's what happened. They spotted the Chicago Bears 17 points and won. All right? And not only that, think about that. And not only that, Colton Miller's out there jazzing around London, should have had his tail in the hotel room. Just saying. And what do we have? We have it as it looks with him out partying. Then 17 points. Yeah, I thought so too. And then, well, you mean the Bears, because the Bears were up 17 points. The Raiders weren't. The Raiders were getting shellacked. And so I thought, oh boy, that says it all. You got Colt Miller out there partying in London. The Raiders get shellacked 17-0. It's going to get worse. Then it got, 21 points? And then the Raiders started scoring, right? Whew! Oh, man, it was a great victory. Awesome. The Raiders, Jordan Yancey, the Raiders were up 17-0. Oh, that's right. The Raiders, you know what? What am I saying? You're right. It's been a long day, folks. The Raiders were up 17-0 and then almost blew it. I'm sorry. You're right. They were. What am I talking about? Either way, that's hilarious. So, I don't know because I'm sitting there watching the game unfold on NFL, the game track, and I know the Raiders are up 17-0 and everything else. What was that? Whatever. Onward through the fog, because that's what that was. That was a brain fog. The Raiders were up 17-0, and the Bears went back in and said, "Okay, that's enough." What I want to do is I can't wait to watch the film to find out what the Bears did, and that caused them to come back, and what the Raiders did to blow that lead. But just looking at it, I can guess. The Raiders did not adequately change their game plan. And I've talked about this before. When you go into an NFL game, a lot of people script, right? The Bears do that. They have 15 plays that they use. And, okay, we can say that script worked on the road, right? Got them up 17-0. Great. But then when they got out of the script, and Jordan Yancey's right, the Raiders offense bullied the Bears defense, right, with the run. But when they got out of the script, the Raiders did what, unfortunately, they have a tendency to do, which is not alter their game plan to cause the opponent, all right, to say, hey, you know what? What we expected them to do during halftime, they're not doing in the second half. The Raiders have a tendency to come out and do the same thing. And the team catches up. Mohammed says, need to work on ball control. Last 2 games, the momentum changed due to the fumbles. Great win, though. Awesome win. It was an awesome win. And it was a win. I mean, let's face it also, it was a win that where the Raiders had the lead, then lost it, and then gained it back. So, I mean, they were determined. They were really determined. Whew. Do you realize this is the first victory since September 10th? Novak says that's pretty much why the Bears came back. Fumble and breakdown special teams, not really an offense issue. Well, I look at it this way. Fumbles, if you're moving the ball on offense in the second half and you're scoring, it overcomes a fumble. So the simple fact they didn't score, and also if you're stopping the team on defense. So it's both of those. Let's say that Josh Jacobs had come out and the Raiders called a combination of plays in such a design that he had an additional 50 yards rushing. So he finished with 173 yards rushing instead of 150. That would tell you not just that Josh Jacobs is a great running back, but that the Raiders used an approach that worked even in the second half. All right, and I'm saying that in the NFL you can't have one approach that you expect to work the entire game unless it's radically different. What I mean by that is, you remember when the late Tony Sperano, rest in peace, an Oakland Raiders offensive line coach for a moment, was the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he brought in not the coach of the Chiefs. He was coach of the Dolphins. I'm sorry. He was coach of the Miami Dolphins, and he brought in, when he was with the Dolphins, the Wildcat. And so in that And during that, he unleashed it against the New England Patriots and blew them out of the stadium. That was 2011. Okay, so, and it shocked everybody. The team went, what they post that year, 11-5 record, I believe, but they blew out the Patriots, and they had, I believe, a 6-game winning streak until they played, this is just off the top of my head from memory, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Ravens hit them with a 6-1 defense, very similar in approach to what the Patriots used against the Rams in this year's Super Bowl, right? Okay, so, but it was Tony Sperano that did that. The point that I'm making is the New England Patriots had no idea that was coming, zero, and they were the first game on the schedule, and it completely caught them off guard. So anyway, point I'm making is the best way to win in the NFL, because the talent is so evenly matched, right, is to do something different. That's all I'm saying. All right. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great win. Fantastic. Still on the road through October to November, and then we come back home. But the key is, you want to win, you give the ball to Josh Jacobs. That's the way to make it happen. And let's see here. I got to give it to John Gruden for the game plan. Yeah, it was a great game plan. John's had some great game plans the last 2 games out, because against the Colts, they had that end around was a thing of beauty. And the speed at which it was done really caught the Colts off guard. But I also have to say that the Colts have a running game, a defense against the run that is just awful. And so watch that tonight. Mohammed, so we got to keep Richard in Washington. 3 running backs unit is amazing. Yeah, it is nice to have that rotation. But the Colts defense is really undisciplined with respect to gap protect control. And so watch that tonight against the Chiefs and see how the Chiefs exploit that, which I expect that they will. Hey, by the way, Tuesday at 1 o'clock Pacific, which is 4 o'clock on the East Coast here, Pat Mahomes' agent and my longtime friend Lee Steinberg will be my guest on Zenny 62. It's early, so it's 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. Lee Steinberg this Tuesday. So we can actually recap the Colts game because he's going to do a client recap. But Lee Steinberg's going to be on my show 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern this Tuesday. Zenny 62 on YouTube. We're going to talk about his clients, including Pat Mahomes, and what he thinks about Gavin Newsom signing into law the SB 206 in California that by 2023 will lead to athletes' pay. Okay, so really excited to have Lee on, and we've got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't seen the man in a while, Haven't seen him in a while. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being magnificent, 1 being whatever, where would you place this Raider win? I would place it at a 7, because it's a milestone. It's a milestone. After all the crap, after all the stuff with Antonio Bryant, who I think is going to win his lawsuit, by the way, after all of the Black Lion says, haha, Mac who? Yeah, after all the stuff about, you name it, the injuries, the Keelan Doss, the hard knocks, training camp with the Oakland Raiders. Dell says, did you guys see how Waller blocked Mac on the one play? That was impressive. Waller is real. Yeah, Waller balls out, man. I mean, that was a Mayock call, okay? Got to give another game ball to Mike Mayock, because Mike Mayock as general manager, yeah, made some mistakes I didn't like, you didn't like. But look, when it comes to evaluating talent, Mike Mayock has done a fantastic job of bringing the right talent into the silver and black to help the young talent, to help them win, a mix of the young and the old. So give it to Mike. Frederick Williams says, I would say 8 because the Raiders are more efficient today, but more impressive with how they handle Khalil Mack. Yeah, they did. I mean, that play action out of single back down the middle, actually was to not to Waller, but I can list a number of plays that were exemplary of your comment right there. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It was I would say, I agree, 8. On a scale of 1 to 10, the win's an 8. Because no one expected it. The announcers, even over here in Georgia, the announcers like, well, this is somewhat of a surprise. I'm thinking, oh man. Black Lion says I'll give it a 9. Okay, hey, Black Lion, that's really high. But why would you give it a 9? Or are you just a high scorer? I mean, nothing wrong with being a high scorer. But I think, like, on a scale, I think that, like, a Super Bowl win is a 10, obviously, right? Playoff win is a 9 or an 8. This is about that because the win came after so many losses, right? After so many losses. So, okay, I'm not going to argue with that. Everybody has their scale. You sound like one of those guys that has the high curve, You know how when you're in school, you had the teacher that had the high curve, and we all whisper, oh, that one's got a high curve, right? That's what it sounds like. Hi, you're a high curver. There you go. Hey, folks. Black Lions is because of how far away from home we were. That's a great point. And I would also add because of the way that the Raiders stunk up the joint last time. Remember that? And I think Gruden was really, really interested in making up for that. You got to admit, these Raiders have become road warriors, man. They're making it happen in spite of, and they're putting a great product on the field. Hey, I like what I see, and I'm happy for John, who I like personally as a friend. So it's a great day all the way around for everybody. Raiders. Actually, the Raiders is Raiders. That's right, Raiders. Dale says, Raider mistakes put the Bears back in the game, not the Bears on their own. And Frederick Williams says, now I can't wait until Detroit comes to the town. That's going to be fun. Mainly because I've always wanted, if I can make that game, hopefully Mom feels okay. But that, in any case, I really love to see Matt Stafford's offense. And how they've altered it and get a good up close look at it, right? Because they always come out with these interesting plays, Not exactly my total cup of tea to follow if I was able to, I could do that. Design my own offense. I wouldn't pattern it after that because it doesn't pay as much attention to time motion study as I would like, okay? In fact, there you go, all right? That's me. Hey, everybody, welcome to Zenny 62, outdoor at dusk live stream, and actually going back inside to get my workout in before the game of the night starts. You know what that is. That's right. The Colts versus the Chiefs. So be back later. Oh, by the way, again, and I'll do another video to announce this, Lee Steinberg on Zenny 62 on YouTube this Tuesday, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock on the East, all right? Live. I'll see you all. Okay, thanks again. Go Raiders. Thank you.